Morning, Andrew. I guess Tuesday night was just one of those games where you just write it off and put it to the back of your mind heading into the last five games of the season.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It definitely wasn't a 4-0. I didn't feel, obviously had the penalty and the free kick, which I think flattered them a little bit. I think first half was really good. Second half, I mean, there wasn't much in the game really, and then we just had a sort of moment, sort of 10-minute spell where we obviously conceded two quick goals, and for a team like Lincoln, who usually they play on a counter attack, it suited them because they got everyone on the ball, and it was then difficult to break them down. And like I say, that the last two goals I think flattered them. It wasn't really a true reflection of the scoreline, but they're up there, they're pushing for the playoffs, and I think for most part of the game we gave a good account of ourselves.
Of course, it's going to be another tough one on Saturday, isn't it? With a team that's in a similar position in the former Portsmouth.
Yeah, they're obviously up there fighting for the playoffs. They've got a lot to play for. They've got that motivation. So it is going to be a tough game. We've got a decent team, decent players. But I think it's like any game that we've played. As long as we're at the top of our game, we've got every chance of beating them. So we just need to make sure we keep trying to reach those levels that we've shown throughout this season, and hopefully if we can keep it tight, I think we've got a good chance.
It's a funny one, isn't it? At the moment, with five games to go, there's not really an awful lot left on the table. But for you guys, you can't afford to let your foot off the gas, because every game will probably have connotations at both ends of the season. You don't really want to be that team that's accused of either helping out one team, not helping out another, and similarly, you'll be wanting to finish as high as possible as well.
Yeah, I think that's the one, finishing as high as possible, because what you don't want, we've shown some really good stuff this season, and we feel like we've had some really good results, some really good performances, and we've worked too hard really just to let the season fizzle out. We want to sort of finish in a position in the league that's a proper reflection of how we've performed. We don't want to end up just above the relegation zone where it looks like we've struggled. We want to really finish top half, if possible. Obviously the playoffs are out of reach now, but if we can finish top half and finish strong, I think that also carries momentum into next season. You want to finish strong. You don't want to end up losing a lot of games towards the end, and there's a bit of a hangover next season from that. So yeah, we've still got massive motivation to finish the season strong. Like you say, although we've not got too much to play for in terms of playoffs, we want to finish in the top half, and like I say, walk away with our heads held high and say, well, actually, we had not a half decent season, and we're still building for next season now.
I think, certainly in my opinion, you've played probably the best football we've seen you play for MK Dons in the last 6 to 8 weeks. How much do you feel you're enjoying your football at the moment, and also playing alongside Josh McEachran, who's come in and giving you a bit more of a midfield partner to play with?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I've really just enjoyed playing in the way that obviously Russ wants to play. You talked about Josh McEachran. I mean, he's a top player. He spent a lot of his career at Chelsea, and you can see that he's got that class about him. And I've really enjoyed playing with him. I've enjoyed playing with the other players that I've played in there with as well, the other midfielders. So yeah, he's a top player. We formed a good relationship, and like I say, I mean, we've had some really, really good results, really good performances as a team, and it's just been really enjoyable to play. And I couldn't have asked for it. I think I've said before, I couldn't have asked for a better style of football to suit my game. And yeah, just really enjoyed it.
And another lad who's chomping at the bit on the bench at the moment, David Kasumu. I mean, you'd have played with him briefly at the start of your time at MK Dons, but he's been a huge player for them over the last 18 months. How big do you think he could be?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. It's a real shame that he got injured when he did, because he's a top player. I think he's got a massive future in the game. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest around him, with his age and obviously what he's actually producing performance-wise. And again, another one that I've really enjoyed playing with. He's very down to earth. He works extremely hard, and he showcased his talents every week when he was playing. So it's great to have him back from injury, and it'd be really good to see him. It's been good to see him coming off the bench, but it'd be good to see him starting again and showing what he can do. And I think he'll have a massive impact on the team.
Loves a tackle, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He does, yeah. He's one of those players. He's just everywhere. He gets about the pitch so well. And yeah, usually if there's a tackle going in or something, it's usually him. So he's someone that you need in the team. He's got those physical attributes. He maybe doesn't look the biggest, but he does fly into tackles. He's strong. He's quick, and like I say, he gets about the pitch. And when you're playing in that role especially when sometimes he's played on his own in there. You've got a lot of ground to cover, and that's what's so impressive about him. Really, physically, he like I say, he gets around everywhere.
It's an ugly role, isn't it? The role that both you and David have to do sometimes, particularly when it's that one man role.
Yeah, it can be difficult. Yeah, I mean, I suppose as you get older, you get a little bit more experience as to, you possibly can't do as much running, so you have to be in the right position at the right time. But yeah, physically you have to be in good shape, because I think, like I said, the amount of ground you have to cover, especially when you're on your own in there, potentially playing against 2-8s or a 10 and a striker, and the responsibility of that role is huge, really, defensively and in terms of sort of starting attacks and feeding the attacking players. So, but yeah, like I say, I mean, Dave's got it in abundance. He can do everything, really, and it'd be great to have him back from injury.
How impressive has it been for you to see particularly with the age of the defenders that are behind you at the moment? I think Zach's probably the oldest at 23, 24. I mean, you don't see defences as young as that.
Yeah, they've been incredible. And I think I said before, obviously Zach's done really, really well since he's come in the team last few games. And obviously we talked about Harry Darling before as well. Obviously Warren O'Hara was doing really, really well. He's been really impressive. Obviously it's a shame that obviously he's injured now, but obviously Harry Darling, I think we said before, the responsibility that those players have got in this team, it's not necessarily just a case of, in some teams it'll be, right, when you get the ball, get out your feet and smash it forward, or it's quite a basic way of playing, defend and then just get the ball long. There's a lot of responsibility put on those players on the ball. And that's what makes it more impressive, really, for their age. They've played with a lot of maturity, a lot of responsibility, and they've been a major part of why we've been able to build possession from the back. And from my point of view, you have to have a relationship with them, because obviously you have to play with them. And yeah, I've been really impressed, like you said, with their age, how much maturity they play with.